Welcome to today's episode, the podcast where we discuss the most recent installments of a different series every show. It is Monday, October 20th, International Sloth Day. There's a good Halloween costume, kind of like Heidi Klum's worm. Remember from a couple of years ago?
Yep.
She went full hard on that. I wonder what she's doing this year. Okay. When I looked up the Resurrected, sorry.
Resurrected.
That's the name of the TV show that I watched 2 episodes of. When I first looked it up, though, I came up with Mel Gibson's sequel to The Passion of the Christ, which is called The Resurrection of the Christ Part 1.
Jim Caviezel and Monica Bellucci are not going to be in that, even though they said that they were going to.
Monica Bellucci, I learned, was married to Tim Burton. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
that. And then they broke up rather recently. But Part 1, that means that there's going to be like 3 parts.
Yeah,
right?
It's like Avatar.
No, it's probably going to be
It's like Avatar. Take a break and then.
So Mel's doing it himself, though, right?
Yeah.
Wait, for real?
He's directing it.
Oh, I meant Jesus.
Oh, no, he's not picking up the role, I don't think.
Okay, that would have been funny because he's always thought of himself as that. All right, so let's talk about The Resurrected. This is a revenge drama crime thriller, a Taiwanese series on Netflix.
Yep.
We don't usually do a lot of these, so that it was nice. It's a refreshing thing to do. It's a horror time of year, so Shu and Lee, that's the moms in this series, it's set in the fictional city of Bangkok. I wouldn't have known that. You could have told me Bangkok was a real place.
I was going to say, yeah, so you knew, how did you know it was fiction?
It literally says it in the Wikipedia, just like tagline here.
Yeah, because they filmed it in Bangkok, Thailand.
What's funny, though, is that they also use real places because they talk about Taipei and Taiwan all the time in this series. So they've only made up one city. And it's, these grieving moms, and they revive a scam ringleader to avenge their daughters. There's a lot to get into that. So the first episode is called Execution Day, and it's very fitting to the episode because it is literally this guy who has kidnapped a lot of girls, tortured them, done terrible things. Squeamish. If you're squeamish at all, don't watch this. But you see some moments of these tapes that he sent out to the moms to try to get money from them, and he's torturing their daughters. One of the daughters ends up surviving, but she is in a coma. She is never coming back. She's effectively dead. The other one was murdered. And so at the beginning of the first episode, we see a resurrection happen with a freaking monkey. Like we said, there's a monkey there. I'm not even sure if the monkey was part of the resurrection process, but there was a kid. The kid is the one who runs this random religious group out in the ether. I don't know where they are, but people come to them and they ask for their relatives to come back, and he or she is able to do that for 7 days.
Okay, so
there's this whole ritual ceremony. The first 5 minutes, you're very confused because you watch this thing and it seems like the show is just going heavy CGI. Right?
Yeah, right. But so the thing is that does it start off though? Do you see the evil person that you're talking about?
It starts off with the ritual happening, so you're just thrown right in the middle.
So they don't even try to explain that.
And the 2 moms are already there. They're watching someone else get resurrected, and there's again a monkey there, so I'm not even sure if that was the actual person. Maybe they wanted their pet monkey to come back.
From what I saw, it doesn't even look like the monkey was real. That looks like CGI.
But then right after that scene, it becomes a very normal TV show, just explaining sort of like a detective novel how and what happened and why this guy who killed their daughters is now going to die himself.
Interesting.
He's been caught, and he is faced trial, and he got the death penalty. So apparently, in Taiwan, they also have the death penalty. And so by the end of the episode, we actually see that moment where there's friends and family, and also the 2 moms who are watching him through the glass as he is put to death.
Oh, we actually had. Okay, so is that Chang Shih?
Maybe. I'm not going to be able to know these names. I just know that the moms are Shu and Lee.
Yeah, I was interested in the actors in this because at least the first three listed on Wikipedia, have a Golden Horse Award, which is, from what I understand, a lot like the Academy Awards in the U.S., but it's like the Chinese Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wondering how the acting was. I know it was in a different language.
First episode, I did not like. I was like, it starts off crazy, and then by the end, I get it. This guy deserves to die. We watched him die. I did not like seeing the daughters being tortured in any way.
It's like Mayor of Kingstown. I know they did something similar with the story there. Is the guy that's capturing
Wait, you can't just say that. What did they do similar?
I'll say someone dies in the first episode, and then you see kind of the family of that person watching the execution take place when they figured out who the murderer was.
Okay,
But
sort of.
with
Yeah.
the person that was capturing the girls and stuff, was that like kind of James McAvoy in the Split films? Was he being as creepy as that?
Yeah, no, this guy was a creep. They even paid to go see him beforehand and ask him, like, why did you do this? And he was like, that's how you're going to waste your money? Ha! You should have just saved it and done something else.
Just very smug.
Yeah, no, he's very smug about being right on death's door, you know? He didn't seem to care that he was going to die. His mom seems to be taking over the business that he was running, the ringleading business. She doesn't seem to feel that bad for the two parents, the two moms who are having to deal with their dead daughters. So the moms immediately go to try to bring their daughters back to life, as you would if you found out that you could.
Right.
However, one of the daughters, the one who was actually dead, got cremated. And they need an actual body in order to bring it back for 7 days.
So could we see some time travel? Is that a
No,
possibility?
no. The kid was basically like, just can't happen.
Oh, okay.
And then the other one's daughter isn't technically dead. She's just in a coma. And so you can't bring her back. Same way, right? And so by the end of the episode, the moms have watched this villain die in kind of the way that he wanted to. And they were like, what the fuck was that? What if we brought him back? And we tortured him the way he tortured our daughters for 7 days.
Yeah.
That's what made me want to see the second episode, because I was like, if I just watched this first one, it was kind of predictable and CGI filled, and I just don't feel that I got a full understanding of what the show wants to be. The second episode, very good. I really like the second episode.
Every episode is something day, so
Right.
execution day.
Resurrection Day.
Right.
By the end of the second episode, that ringleader is alive. But it's about the process of how they brought him back. They decided not to go CGI heavy or action heavy. They instead decided to have these two women fastidiously like putting the plan together. They have this whole chalkboard thing where they're like marking down exactly how. So how would you, if you needed to get this body, which has just been put to death, like he's in some sort of stationed off morgue.
So they have to break in, I assume.
They're not going to do that themselves. They're just two ladies. However, they know a guy. Right?
I was going to say you hire someone.
So you hire someone, but that guy is like, I need a ton of money because I have to pay off a ton of people. I liked how semi-realistic this got. And so he was like, I'm going to need so much funds and we need it by like tomorrow because otherwise that body's going to be cremated.
It reminds me a little bit of Duplex, the Ben Stiller film. I know a large like portion of that. The premise is them having to get money for something that also involves death.
Right.
Yeah.
But instead of it being a comedy, these two women, we get this backstory for them, which is really well done because it's like not only do they have their motive, which is we need the money now, but that gives them the opportunity to show us the years of like 2019, 2020, before their daughters were dead.
Right.
And explaining like how it happened. It's kind of like Cruel Summer in that way, where we got 3 different timelines and then it would show us before or after the kidnapping and stuff like that. And so what we do is we see in the before times, one of the daughters was a big up-and-coming YouTube star. She would be paid to travel and then just post videos. She was talking to her mom. Unfortunately, she didn't know that her mom's relationship with the dad was just not going well. Like, I think the dad was hitting the mom. And so the mom was always putting up this false face. And by the next year, that's the daughter, I think, that went into the coma. So the YouTube star is still alive, but she's like never going to post on social media again.
Right. Because I feel like if the YouTube star had died, it probably would have been like a big story. At least there would have been like.
Well, no, it does seem like this was a pretty big story for the media because everybody is running after these two moms trying to get an interview for them.
Oh, okay.
And so the other mom, she's more like a type A personality. Her husband has already passed away. She actually stopped her daughter from originally going to hang out with the YouTube star because they're friends. The daughter really wanted to do so. She said, "Oh, I could also earn some money."
But why the mom want her not to go?
She needed, I guess she just wanted her to be home and said, "We don't worry about money." She has this interesting job where she's selling life insurance to everybody. And the thing is, though, her company is a really scummy company and she feels bad about it, but she still needs to work in order to make money to pay for her like kid and stuff.
How old are these moms?
Oh, they seem young, but that's, I think, more just because the Taiwanese actresses who they have playing them seem young, but really I think they're in their 40s, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, one of so that kid dies and the other one survives, but in the coma. These two moms, they have avenues to get money, and this is how it comes together. The mom in the future, she divorces her husband by blackmailing him because she finds evidence of an affair and tracks it down over the year, and she just happens to have that in her back pocket. And when she finds out she needs money, then everybody's like, oh, why wouldn't she pull from her daughter's funds, the YouTube money she has?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a divorce. And when the husband hears that, he's ecstatic because he's not a good guy. But then when she's like, and I'll get all your money anyways if we go through the court system. So why bother doing it that way? Because he has another kid out there. He's been having an affair for a long
He has a
time.
lot of
And
skeletons in
so
his closet.
he's going to have to give up his apartment and also a ton of money to her. That's how she gets her portion of it. The other lady does something interesting with her job, where it's that place that she's been selling these bad insurance claims to. And she brings a reporter in under the guise that she's going to explain what happened to her daughter. But in reality, she was going to resign from the company and spill all the beans to the reporter. She uses that fact to blackmail her boss
So
with
both
the
are
reporter.
blackmail.
Yes, both are using blackmail. Both get a ton of money for it. And then they use that money to pay off the guy who then we see steal the body and puts it in an ice cream truck and drives it right outside this one place, because they need to then transport the body to the place that they're going to perform the ritual to bring him back to life, but they don't want the body to wear down. So the perfect cover is an ice cream truck, right?
I'm now starting to understand why Lee Sinje said that it's a female-driven story that's intense, a little wild, and deeply emotional. She's one of the actresses that plays the moms. But yeah, keep going.
Right. There's like three more things that are kind of relevant. One is that as soon as they get the ice cream truck, someone comes knocking on the on the door, a drunk guy who needs like ice cream, or he wants a drink, but he wants with ice in it, and the guy is in the ice.
Yeah, right.
And so for some reason, when the mom decides to take from the ice, and they're grossed out by doing it, but at the same time, they went right towards his face. Like they could have used the ice further away, and then they make the joke as he's walking away, he's probably going to get a stomachache, which I would probably agree to. They also go through the preset formula. So they own this shop. I think one of them owns the shop in between this dance club and a pharmacy. And in the first episode, we see her talk to, I think his name is Pong or something, the pharmacist, right? And they're on a good relationship, but he is going out to do drugs with his friends. Like he gets high with them, right?
Wait, so he's a pharmacist that does drugs?
Yeah, it might not be a pharmacist. It might just be like a little shop. But anyway, so she knows that about him. And when they're testing out the mid room, they know that the dance club is kind of soundproof because it's always got music pumping. And so they're not going to have to worry about when they bring this guy back to life and start torturing him, that the sounds will break through there. But when they do that same test, the guy on the Pong hears them and he runs over and he's like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And so they have him arrested. Anonymous tip only for a few days. They give this like, hey, someone's been getting high.
It reminded me, they thought that it was going to be like a quiet place where when you're near waterfalls, you can't hear anything.
They didn't have a choice, but they were like, is it easier for us to find a new location or just get rid of the guy for a little bit? And so poor Pong. And so then they drive that ice cream truck. And this, I think, was the best story-wise that they did, because it did feel a little exposition-y, where one of the moms, the one who just got divorced, starts being like, so what happened to your husband? And if you could have brought back your daughter, like, how would you have spent those 7 days? And that's where the more type A personality mom admits, like, if I would rather not have brought my daughter back, because being that young, she would have freaked out.
Right.
She's only going to be there for 7 days. I wouldn't have been able to really get too much of that time with her. Like it just wouldn't have been fair. Versus, she said, her husband, she would have 100% brought back. And she goes into this whole story about how he had cancer and he didn't tell her about having cancer because he didn't want to make her sad. And he even like saved up a ton of money in those few months before he just fainted one day. And then he went into a coma and she was never able to say her goodbyes. So having him back for 7 days would work perfect. And the other wife is like, So, like, why? Like, what would you have talked to about? And she's like, or what would you have said to him at first? And she was like, I probably would have hit him, like, because she was still mad about it. But at the same time, she had wasted a lot of the money that he had tried to save for them, trying to still save him at the end, even though all her friends. So it was showing that she really, really missed him. And that was the first time we really got like a deep impression of her, who character was.
It was
And
touching, yeah.
well, the reason why it was touching was at the end of the episode, these ritual resurrection people, they're no chumps. They know what's going on. So when they see that dead body, the kid does a little read. He's like, I'm not sensing a connection between you guys and this body. I'm not bringing it back. Send them away. And that's where the mom, who we just heard her sob story about her husband, pretends that that's her husband and uses that same emotion that is real for her to just cry over the body and then kiss him to try to like sell the fact that this guy should be brought back. It does that
But
enough.
if he's felt like, the thing is that with
Her
the
emotion
kid,
was real.
I know her emotion was real, but the kid, he can sense that like there's no connection there.
Yeah,
There's
he sensed
still,
no connection, but once the mom like forced that connection and was like put the emphasis on this is who I'm actually thinking about, but like over here, the kid I think got confused and brought back the body anyways, and so that's where we're at.
Okay, see, I thought what I thought was that the kid like literally was not just going to be able to bring the body back because he didn't feel it.
I wouldn't know. Maybe
But
he could say that, but I was wondering if maybe he brought the spirit of the husband back into the drug dealer accidentally,
like some
and we're going to learn
extraordinary
that
thing.
over time. Yeah, maybe. But I think what happened is the regular drug dealer came back, and they're going to start torturing. There's 9 episodes in this series.
It's not a spoiler to say that the next episode is called Vengeance Day.
Mm.
So I think that is probably going to be torture.
So again, for the first episode, I wouldn't recommend this for anybody who's squeamish, and also like it's just got like it's more gross and ew, that factor. The second episode on its own was kind of like a movie, like something I would just enjoy. Yeah, you got the subtitles, but like overall, that was a really good episode. So I'm split with this series. However, it does feel kind of like a complete arc. I feel like I don't necessarily even have to watch anymore. So overall, I'd recommend these 2 episodes and give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay, so it passes.
Mhm.
It's funny you say movie because there was a movie that hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out very close to Halloween also, called Resurrection, that stars Shu Qi. Shu Qi is Wang Hui, one of the moms from this TV series.
There are some weird Taiwanese series and the names. Like, I know we don't do a lot of them, but this is my favorite one that I saw immediately is I am married, but like what? Okay.
Well, it's also there's also just some very strange plots, as I think people kind of know. This was created by Lester Chen. He worked on the story for over a decade. He said that he came up with the core concept of the series about 20 years ago. But one of my favorite things I've seen he's worked on is called Moonshine and Valentine, where the plot is Helen is a mythical 9-tailed fox who has lived for centuries, while Pippi is a seemingly normal human. It is revealed that in her past reincarnation, she was connected to him. So it always seems like there's some type of connection that like has to do with his work, and he's worked on some other films.
I know it's not a Chinese series at all, but Sunny, it reminded me a bit of that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and her character and how she's unable to let things go and how she still misses her kid and her dead husband. And like, yeah, there was definitely, and even her relationship with Misty, was it? In that series where the 2 moms, you got these 2
I
female
think it was
leads.
Mixie. Yeah,
Mixie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's what, just want to throw that out there.
The show is a production collaboration between Taiwan, Malaysia, and Thailand. But I find it funny because Bangkok, which you talked about, did it look nice? Because I know it's a fictional town.
It looked like any other town. I mean, it looked like Squid Game towns, honestly. So for a second, I was like, oh, is this going to be another K-drama? And it wasn't. This doesn't fall into the same type of like romance, like the stuff you would expect from a K-drama.
I even remember the Tempest, which had like kind of a cool premise, did also fall into that K-drama territory.
Or was it the John Cho show that just came out, where
That was-
Butterfly?
Oh, right.
Yeah, where that was doing like more of an action-packed, more Americanized. This felt distinctly different than an American series, and that's why I feel like we should definitely incorporate these into our episodes in the podcast because they do give us a more fleshed out idea of like what is out there.
Well, a huge reason why they decided to do a fictional town is because Thai authorities have little tolerance for overseas film and TV productions that tarnish the image.
Mhm.
So them being able to do this fake setting made the series, they didn't like have any story restrictions that they had to
Like
go
what I
to.
was talking about is this is a ringleader, so his mom has taken over. Also, like Sonny, remember there's the connection with the mafia, and there's like this evil group that's out
Right.
there. That's the same deal here, and they don't want to portray it that way. I get that.
One
Yeah.
of the funny things is Lester Chen, he's always ran out the series and then pitched it, but when they pitched it to Netflix, he only had the first episode ran. And something I find interesting is I didn't know this. Writers' rooms, or at least multi-person screenwriting, like AKA writers' rooms, are really only in the US, like the UK, and also I think Canada and Taiwan. They don't have writers' rooms.
Thailand? Okay.
It's ran by like one or two people. So, but overall, the series has gotten good reviews. It has a 6.7 on IMDb, so pretty close to your 6.5. Doesn't have a tomato meter yet, but it has 3 tomatoes on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't think a lot of people are going to be tuning into it because it kind of just goes under the covers of Netflix, and Netflix has a billion series out there that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, and because of that, it makes it seem like a lot of places that I normally wouldn't include because a lot of big publications haven't reviewed it. But why though? I've never heard of them. But they called it a bulky revenge tale. They pushed your 6.5 out of 10, praising the supernatural component. Screen Rant called it gripping and praised the cast.
The second episode, I would literally give an 8 out of 10, just
So-
because I'm not used to it. Like, it might not be breaking TV records or anything like that, but like it's still definitely a fun watch. The first episode drags it down. Yeah.
So, it's going to be 9 episodes. Are you going to watch the rest of the series?
Again, I feel like I got a completed story in these first execution day, resurrection day. We're done. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.